convocation. So we do have some small food, because we do got to eat. He didn't tell us to fast, and we can't cook on today. But we don't have as many tables out, we have many burners out because we're just trying to make a point. Because the Lord told us to feast for 7 days. First day have a holy convocation, but the 8th day have a holy convocation. He said you should do no servile work in any of those days. Meaning tomorrow we should take it off, relax, focus on this past year, evaluate your walk, write down the things you can do better going forward. Because all the feast days, every last one of them, climaxing to this point. If it wasn't for all the previous feast days, the 8th day, we wouldn't have anything coming on the 8th day. This is the great and last feast day of the Lord. This is the climax. This is what it's all about. This day right here. Because when everything's said and done, when we finally done with this flesh, we're going to be in paradise. We're going to be dwelling in streets of gold. That's what you're fighting for. Today is a reminder of why you're sacrificing everything to get into what today points to. Think about when you were in high school. How you worked hard to get that degree or to get that GED. And some of us went on to college. How we forsook so many different things to get that degree. Or if it wasn't like me, I went to trade school. And you worked hard to gain that skill. But it required a lot of sacrifice, didn't it? Any goal in life requires sacrifice. When you try to get that new house, you sacrifice. When you want that new job, you sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrificing to reach this 8th day. Just think about all the sacrificing you've done last year to get to this point. But also dwell on things you can do better next year. Because if we don't increase our spiritual walk, we're not growing. And let me tell you something about spiritual walking. It's not about how many verses you can memorize. It's not how many verses you can quote. Because eventually you can hit a plateau. And you say, I'm not growing spiritually. Because there's so much stuff in this book, even our most educated elder probably don't even understand. But growing in the fruits of the Spirit is true spiritual growth. Becoming meeker, becoming more long-suffering, having more patience. I've seen too many times when our brethren learn this word, they lose patience, they lose humility. But that's the very thing the fruit is supposed to produce. And without the fruits of the Spirit, this 8th day means nothing. All the feast days brought us up to this point. Without all the feast days, this means nothing. Because we needed to pass over. Why we need to pass over? Because our sins had to be passed over. And then if your sins are passed over, you are telling the Lord, I'm going to put all the leaven, doctrine, anything against God, malice, wickedness, and I'm going to put it all away from me. And then God said, in return, I'm going to pour my Spirit upon you. And then we come back to the end of the year, that 7th month, when those trumpets are blown. When all our hard work, we can see the fruits of when God gathered us from all over the country. Then we have the Day of Atonement, not only his death, but his resurrection as well. It's at the end of the year, we're reminded what this thing is all about, to put it all in perspective. Because it's good to have a good time. It's great to celebrate. But don't lose focus in your celebration. So then we come to the Feast of Ingathering. When we celebrate how he gathered us from all over the world. And then it's the 8th day. It's our climax. The end of the Feast of Tabernacles. Everything throughout the year we celebrated points to this day. Everything that you sacrifice to become more godly, to become more of an ambassador of Christ, represents today. Let's go ahead and open up our Bibles to Leviticus chapter 23. Today's lesson is called the 8th day. The 8th day. This is the climax. This is why we work so hard. This is why you sacrifice. Because you sacrifice for a reason. You sacrifice for a purpose. You're striving for that great reward. You're striving for that incorruptible crown. Every day you have to fight the good fight. Every day you got to leave out your house fully dressed with the armor of God. Because you're fighting for what this day represents. Leviticus 23, and we're going to start at verse 1. Brother Isaiah, when you get there, can you go ahead, sir?
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord.
Now, Brother Rico said something on the at the lesson we did for the first day. He said, Israel, this is your heritage. This is your culture. Too many times our brothers and sisters trying to pick up the culture of others. Too many times we take on the culture of our slave master. Remember when our forefathers in Egypt, as we read, as soon as they got out of Egypt, it wasn't even a whole month. Moses was only gone for a short period of time. They resorted back to the customs that they learned from their captives. Even now, we're taking on the customs that we learned from our captives. Because next month, instead of celebrating the ingathering now, instead of celebrating all the bounty that God has given for us now during the feast of ingathering and tabernacles, we're going to be doing it next month. And then a month after that, we're going to be celebrating the pagan God. Why? Because we're brainwashed. We forgot who we really are. Because we take on the cultures of others. We're taking on the cultures of the heathen or the other nations. This is our culture. This is what our forefathers did. Don't believe roots. When they showed our forefathers getting circumcised at 14 at the end of the shore. Matter of fact, I always thought it was a good thing that they showed that. Because right when that happened, the enemy took them in captivity, didn't it? Because we were serving false gods. Once again, we were serving the gods of our captive. You know, Ishmael had this captive as well. Thus Muslim, Islam. We always taking on the customs of our captives. But now the Lord is slowly waking us up, and we're taking on our heritage from the most and almighty God. So he says, speak unto the children of Israel, saying to them concerning the feast of the Lord, even these are my feasts. Verse 2, go ahead.
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Every last one of these feasts have a holy gathering. Because the Lord always telling you, I'm going to gather you. When you come in my name, I'm going to gather you. So when you have a month week and you have that holy convocation, the Lord is reminding you, I am going to gather you. When you go out into the world and you're working hard and the other nations are on our throats, we have that holy convocation. Understand, I am going to gather you. 7th day, have a holy gathering because I am going to gather you. First day of Feast of Unleavened Bread, you should have a holy what? Gathering. 7th day, you should have a holy what? Gathering. Pentecost, gathering. Atonement, gathering. Trumpets, gathering. Even today, gathering. To give you inspiration as we gather with one another, brothers and sisters. Because it's tough out there. And Satan gonna make it tough. Because just like God leave the 99 to gather to find that one, don't you think Satan do the same? He even came after Jesus. So these holy gatherings are important to remind us that we do have a future, that we are important, that we will come together when everything's said and done. You just got to have the faith to remember that and believe that and stay encouraged and don't give up because it's tough out there. Satan's going to make it so. And we're going to find out in this lesson why this test is so tough because the reward, we can't even imagine what it is. We can't even fathom what that reward is. Verse 3.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord.
So every 7th day, we have a holy gathering. Every 7 days, we come together. And as we come together, whether it's two of us or many, the Lord is there guiding us. Just like it's going to be the time when he's going to gather us from the four winds of heaven. Verse 4.
In all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their season.
So he said you're going to proclaim these feasts in their season. And that's exactly what we've been doing all year. Today is nothing different. Jump down to verse 39 and go ahead.
Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye shall have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days.
All right. So he said, when we gather in the fruit of the land, I have a garden. Who all know everybody might not have a green thumb, but you know, right now, it's dying down. Can't gather as much as we used to. This is when we start to bring everything in. Of course, we're going to have a few things left over, but ultimately, it's a done deal. And this is when we thank the Lord for the bounty He's been blessing us with all year. We don't have to wait another 30 days or another month into the 3rd week of November when we give thanks. The Lord tells you to give thanks now. After you gather in the fruit of your harvest in the 7th month. And then you celebrate what you have gathered in for 7 days. How long we shall feast until the Lord, Brother Isaiah?
7 days.
Go ahead.
On the 1st day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
So the 1st day should be a Sabbath, and the 8th day should be a Sabbath. Notice it says 8 days, right? But how long do we feast? 7. So we feast for 7 days. 1st day is a Sabbath, and the 8th day is a Sabbath. And he goes on to tell us in other places that you shall do no servile work therein. Which we all know that part already. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. Deuteronomy chapter 16. And we're going to read one verse. And that's verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 16. When you get there, go ahead.
3 times in the year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which ye shall choose.
All right, and we understand that he chose Jerusalem. And right now, we can't travel to Jerusalem, but that means we still don't mean we can't keep the feast. Paul wish he could have traveled to certain places to keep the feast. You read Acts, I believe, chapter 20, he wanted to go from Asia back to Jerusalem. It was possible for him to keep the feast of Jerusalem. Feast of Unleavened Bread, I believe. So wherever you are, keep the Lord's feast. But then the Lord said, 3 times a year shall the males be prepared before him. And the place where you shall choose, we know that's the holy city of Jerusalem. Go ahead.
In the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks,
which is Pentecost. Go ahead.
And in the feast of tabernacles.
And that's what we're celebrating today. Go ahead.
And they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
Basically, everybody brings something to make the feast happen. Just like we do. Bring what you can. Bring yourself. The songs we hear gathering together during that holy convocation. 3 times a year shall the Lord appear before me, we shall not appear empty. Also, it says in other places in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, he says, when you travel to these places, take your tithes and turn it into money. And when you travel to these places, buy whatever your heart desires for these 3 feast days. Whether it be meat, whether it be oxen, sheep, strong drink, which we're not going to have strong drink at our feast because of past history doesn't work out well with Israel. It just don't. You can have strong drink at home, that's fine, but when we gather together, we're just going to refrain from that. But the Lord said you can have it. But he also says oxen, right? And sheep. And I just make a point. During these Feast of Tabernacles, 1st to 8th, eat whatever your heart desire as long as it's clean. Because of what the book says. Now, other places choose to do, so be it. But I'm not going to say it's a transgression here. So he said, 3 times a year shall the Lord appear before me on the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of weeks, and on the feast of Tabernacles. And you can read Deuteronomy chapter 14 on your own. Let's go to St. John chapter 7. St. John chapter 7. And let's see if Jesus adhered to what the law said, which we know he did because there was no transgression. And being that we are Bible Christians, trying to be like Christ, that's the whole goal, to be like Christ, as humble as Christ was, as long-suffering as Christ is, as meek as Christ is. So we're going to line ourselves up to do the things that Christ did. St. John chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, where he would not walk in Judea, because the Jews sought to kill him.
All right, Judea is another name for Jerusalem. So Jesus didn't want to walk around Jerusalem because he knew the Jews was going to kill him. Verse 2.
Now the Jews' feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
Now we just read on Leviticus 23 that these are the feasts of the Lord. The reason why I said the Jews' feast of Tabernacles at hand because the 10 tribes went into captivity, and only predominant tribe left was Judah, the main one, Benjamin, some Levites. Of course, there was some other 12 scattered amongst them. Because when Jesus was circumcised on the 8th day, a sister named Anna was there, and she was from the tribe of Asher. But as a whole, the 10 tribes went into captivity by the Assyrians. So Jew became the name of all the children of Israel. But we know that it's the Feast of Tabernacles, which is the Feast of the Lord, according to Leviticus chapter 23. Jump down to verse 10 and go ahead.
But when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. Then the Jews saw him at the feast and said, Where is he?
So Jesus kept the feast, right? Because all the males had to appear in the place that God chose. And Jesus did do just that. Go ahead. Verse 12. I'm sorry, jump down to verse 14.
Now about the midst of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught.
All right. So Jesus just did that. They feasted not only on the food for 7 days, but they also feasted on the word for 7 days. If you read the book of Nehemiah, when they kept the Feast of Trumpets, they read the word from morning until noonday. And everybody stood attentive to hear that word from morning to noonday. Was a lot more than an hour and 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. And they were ready to hear that word. So even during the Feast of Tabernacles, Jesus did the same thing. In the middle of the feast, he went to the places and he taught. He educated the people. Because you feast more than just physical food. Also spiritual food as well. Jump down to verse 37. Go ahead.
In the last day, that great day of the feast.
Now, he said on the last day of the feast. Is this the 7th day or the 8th day? 8th day. The 8th day. It's actually people teaching that the 8th day is a totally different feast. Just with no name, I guess. But it's part of Tabernacles. It's the 8th day of Tabernacles. Go ahead.
Jesus stood and cried, saying, If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water.
So when you believe on Jesus, he's going to pour his spirit upon you. And guess what you're going to do when you hear that spirit? You're going to take it, you're going to digest it. And then you're going to tell somebody. Every last one of us in here is a teacher in some way, form, or fashion. Just because you don't stand behind a podium or nowadays in front of a camera, don't mean you don't educate somebody else. You educate people how you carry yourself. Like the old saying goes, sometimes people see more Bible on how you live because they don't read the book. But you let your light shine with your meekness, with your humility, and how you carry yourself. They say, I can see the God in you. You believe really what you preach. People aren't used to that. People are used to hypocrisy. People are used to people being one way at church, but a totally different way every day. Hopefully, we aren't that way. But if you believe on God, He will give you the words you need to spread His word. I don't know if everybody experiences this, but there's been times when I explain something to somebody and I can't remember what I said. Or you explain something to somebody and they open the Bible and you open up right where you need to go. That's amazing to me. I actually, on purpose, tried to go back and write down what I said and couldn't remember now one word. That's the Holy Ghost. Believe on Jesus. Believe on the Most High. I mean, earnestly believe. Like the disciples earnestly believed. They died for it. They forsaken everything. They said, Lord, we've forsaken everything. That's what the Lord requires. He said, if you love me, you will hate your mother, your father, your spouse, and even your own life. If your love is not there, you are not worthy to be my disciple. But if it is, I'm going to fill you with living water. It shall come out your belly. So you can educate my children. So you can teach my children. So you can bring them out of being brainwashed. So you can take them out of the cultures of the heathen. We all do it in one way, form, or fashion. Like I said, it don't have to be in front of a screen, in front of a camera, or in front of a phone. Just by how you walk and carry yourself. Because the scriptures say, let your light shine, that they may do what? See your good works. And then they'll glorify God because they see your good works. It's all how we carry ourselves. Let's go to Colossians chapter 2. So Jesus kept the Feast of Tabernacles. And on the great day of the feast, he said, you all believe on me. I will bless you with the water, living water, shall flow out your belly. Because it's amazing, these feast days, God proves himself. Colossians chapter 2, we're going to read a couple of verses, verse 16 and 17. Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 and 17. When you get there, go ahead.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of a holy day, or a new moon, or of a Sabbath day.
Once you choose to be sanctified or separate from everybody else, you're going to come against something. Even Paul, the Apostle Paul, he came against all types of perils. He tells you about it. Perils in the sea, perils on land. And we know what the crazy thing about it? Perils amongst other brothers. And if you do anything outside of the norm or what they say is norm, you might receive some perils. But God said, don't let no man judge you in meat or in drink or respect of a holy day or a new moon or a Sabbath day. Because what are these things, Brother Isaiah, verse 17?
Which are a shadow of things to come.
All these feast days are a shadow of things to come. God proves he exists through his feast days and other things. Because you want to know how to prove God is real in the Bible? Because everybody, you can ask a lot of people, how do you know God is real? They'll say, well, you know, the sun and the moon and the galaxy and the trees give off the very thing we breathe, and we give off the very thing they breathe. If we were 2 inches close to the sun, we would burn up. If it was 3 inches further away, we would freeze to death. Everything is so perfect, which all that is good. But God tells you how to prove himself. And let's go to Isaiah chapter 46, and God will tell you how he proved he's real. He gave you a glimpse in Colossians. He said his feast days are a shadow of things to come. This is how God showed that he is real. And as we grow in knowledge, as we grow in wisdom, it's up to us to prove God is real. with his word. Isaiah chapter 46, we're going to start at verse 9. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9. Now it says, feast days are a shadow of things to come. What did he say in Isaiah 46? How did God say, prove him? Go ahead.
Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me.
So he is telling Israel, I am God, and there is none else. Remember the former things of old. There is no God that exists that is like me. Go ahead.
Declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times to things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
God is telling you how to prove him. He said, I'm telling you things where you didn't even happen. I'm telling you the end right at the beginning. What other God can tell you the future? Literally tell you the future. Even have it written down. You know what being filled with the Holy Ghost is? He said, I will show you things to come. Once again, the gift of the Holy Ghost is telling you the future. The feast days are a shadow of things to come. Telling you the future. What other God can do that? When the last time Allah said, I'm going to tell you the future? What other God can tell you the entire Gentile kingdom from Nebuchadnezzar all the way down to Rome? In so much detail that when Greece came, it was only going to be one leader, but then that leader is going to die quickly. Then he's going to split into 4 leaders, 4 generals, and then that just happened. Before it even happened. Even while Nebuchadnezzar was still ruling, he's telling you that, look, the Medes and the Persians are going to take the kingdom. And then he said this beast out of nowhere is just going to come. He's going to rule until I return. What other God can do that? And if you're Israel, what other God can tell you your end point before you even go into captivity? Before you even get your land, you're going to go into captivity. I'm going to scatter you over the entire world. You're going to serve the gods from the stone when neither your forefathers have known. To the very detail that he was talking about fathers not being there for their children. You shall be the head and not, you shall be the tail and not the head. You shall grow as noonday. You shall be only oppressed. Now you tell me what God has ever did that and it came to pass. Prove God? Get a history book in the Bible. So yes, it's a beautiful thing outside how the Lord organized the trees, how the Lord put us in a certain spot on this planet so we don't burn up. But he tells you, I am God and there is none else, because I'm going to declare the end from the beginning. And we celebrate the 8th day, right? Let's show you how the Lord was preparing us for this 8th day, who was only 8 days old. Let's go to Genesis chapter 17. Genesis chapter 17, and we're going to start at verse 1. Then the Lord said he declared the end from the beginning, right? He said, I am the Lord, there is none else. There is no other God besides me. No other God can do this. No other God tell you this type of prophecy. And I'm not talking about these charlatans that come in our Sunday Christian brothers and sisters churches talking about you're going to have a check in the mail because you filed your taxes. I'm talking about real prophecy that affect the entire nation of Israel. He said, I'll tell you the end from the beginning. So you want to know our end? Let's go to the beginning. Let's go to Genesis chapter 17. We'll start at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me and be thou perfect.
So he was 99 years old. What? Perfect. Where's the bar? That's where it is. He said, walk before me and be thou what? Perfect. He says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 48, he says, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. He said to Job, Job, you are perfect in your generation. Where is the bar? Where is your bar? That's a real question. You can make your bar where you can obtain it, but you step over that bar right into hell. These are things we need to ask ourselves. This is the time we need to evaluate for next year, so we can grow stronger in God. Not only in His Word, but also be more like Him. That's what the fruits of the Spirit are for. That's the bar we're supposed to reach. Forgiving, long-suffering, meekness, that stuff. So He said, "Walk before me and be thou perfect." Verse 2.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
All right, jump down to verse 10.
This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee, every man child among you shall be circumcised.
All right, so every man child has to be circumcised, right? Verse 11.
Ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you.
All right, so this circumcision is a token of the covenant between His service and Him. Now, title of this lesson is called what? The 8th day, right? We feast for 7 days, and we have a holy convocation on what? The 8th day. Let's see what happens on the 8th day when a son is born. Verse 12.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you.
All right, so when you're 8 days old, you lose flesh, right? When a man child is 8 days old, you're going to lose some flesh. Then He said, "I am God, and there is none else." Then He said, "I told you the end." To tell you the end at the beginning. So at the beginning, in the book of Genesis, He's already planted the seed in man. Once you are 8 days old, you will lose flesh. My sons will lose flesh when they are 8 days old. This thing is just bigger. It's just circumcising a baby. Because that's a parent's responsibility, right? The kid 8 days old. I don't know no better. It's the parent's responsibility to do this. It's the parent's responsibility. Actually, it was the father's responsibility to remove that flesh on the 8th day, wasn't it? Trying to teach us something, isn't it? Remember what happened with Moses? Moses was so wrapped up in saving the people that he didn't have his house in order? Which should be something to the parents. You can't get so wrapped up in business and not have your house in order. Moses had a big thing to take care of. But luckily he had a God-fearing wife. Which also would teach us, brothers, you're going to marry a woman, marry a God-fearing woman, because she might save you from God killing you. If you hearken. That's what happened with Moses. He didn't handle his business, but his wife saved him of the circumcision. So Abraham said, the Lord told Abraham, circumcise your male children. When they're 8 days old, they're going to lose some flesh. Go ahead.
Among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for his everlasting covenant.
So this is an everlasting covenant. Verse 14.
And the uncircumcised man child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people, he that hath broken my covenant.
All right, so if you're not circumcised, you are not part of His covenant. Jump down to verse 23 and go ahead.
And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male child among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the self-same day, as God had said unto him. So
Abraham didn't waste no time, did he? This man is 100 years old. God told him to circumcise his flesh. He did the self-same day, and everybody in his household did it. Self-same day. There was no time to think about it. There was no time like, wait a minute, Lord, you want me to do what? Can you repeat that again? I didn't quite hear. You want me to do what? No, he handled his business. Same day. And the reason why I emphasize on different things like this, because we know Abraham is in the kingdom, don't we? We try to get to the same place he is. So that's really make you think. You're going to be next to Abraham, Moses, Elijah, Jeremiah, David. And as Paul said, to my knowledge, none of us has resisted unto blood. But all of them have. That's who we want to say and that's to. These are the things we need to evaluate ourselves for the upcoming year. This is the time we take inventory of our walk. Because you won't grow if you don't change. The worst thing you can do is get comfortable with transgression. Start making excuses as to why I can act this way. Start justifying why I can do this. Because I ain't nothing but the heart. I'm not going to say it's Satan. It's the heart. Because the heart is desperately wicked and is just deceitful above all things. Satan is just trying to feed what's already there. You got to put an end to that. So he said, you got to be 8 days old, you got to be circumcised the same day he did. So when a man is 8 days old, he loses flesh. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10. I'm going to read one verse. Because it's not just about the flesh. Because without this circumcision, whether you're male or female, you won't make it in the 8th day. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 16. When you get there, go ahead.
Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
So release pride, release anger, release arrogancy. Those are sins that we don't really pay attention to. When you talk about transgression, it's amazing. We talk about the big stuff. I ain't eat no swine's flesh. I keep the Sabbath day. I'm here on the feast. I'm the Hebrew of Hebrews. But pride and arrogance, that's the very thing that got Satan kicked out of heaven. Pride, being arrogant. That's not what the Lord wants. That's what you need to circumcise. That's the skin or the fat you need to get rid of. That's how you grow spiritually, because you change. You change. Memorizing scripture is good. I mean, don't get me wrong. But sometimes I think we emphasize too much on that. Sometimes we emphasize too much on how many verses you can squeeze into a lesson. Man, I'm doing a lesson, bro. How many scripture you got? I got 230 verses. It's like, dude. I think we don't realize that actually nowadays, because of the internet, that the person's attention span is probably about what? 36. Right, of a goldfish. A goldfish can pay more attention to something than man can right now. And that's science. So sometimes when we do pride, sometimes it's just pride. It is what it is. I can look at a lesson and I'm like, dude, you can teach this lesson in 30 minutes. But we need to learn something, or a way to learn something, because that's how my teacher did it. Because that was the generation, that's what they needed. Sometimes you got to adjust. Scripture's important. I'm not saying it's not, but we don't need 400. Break it up in series or something. Because people leave and they don't get bored and they fall asleep. What have you done? You're teaching yourself. Or just to hear some brother and say, amen, bro, teaching Hebrew. Pride. That's what we need to get rid of. Pride. That's how you go spiritually. Arrogance. That's how you go spiritually. Clean that stuff up. And we'll deal with the other stuff as we go. That's what we need to circumcise. That's circumcising the heart. That's how you go spiritually. Because you can come to a point, because I've been there, when your teacher that would do a lesson, and you know the whole lesson before he even get to it. Because you just heard it so much. It's just repetition. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's when you'll mess around and hit that plateau, like, well, I ain't growing spiritually. Because I'm growing on the wrong thing. We're taught that just memorizing verses is growing spiritually, but it's not. This is why the lesson like the 8th day is important, because if we're not giving the tools needed or realize what the tools really are to get to the 8th day, then once we get to the 8th day and we have done our own research, well, we drop the ball. And as a watchman, it's my job to warn you against pride and arrogancy, the very things Satan got kicked out of heaven with. And if it takes some patience and 5, 6 scriptures and talking it out, then so be it. It might be a time for 200 verses. Then again, it might not be. That's when wisdom comes in. But a lot of time, that's just pride. And we got to get away from that. Pride and arrogance. That's what the circumcision of the heart is. Let's go to St. John chapter 3. So once again, we're trying to be like Christ. And Christ followed the law to the letter. St. John chapter 3, and we'll start at verse 5. All right. So let's see what the conversation is. We got circumcised on the 8th day. On the 8th day, we lose some flesh. St. John chapter 3 and verse 5. Let's see what Jesus told Nicodemus. Go ahead.
Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of the water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. All right, so in order for us to enter into the kingdom of God, because that's what the 8th day is about, right? We all know it's about getting into the kingdom of God. We got to be born of the water and of the Spirit. Go ahead. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto you, ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whether it cometh or whether it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Can you imagine that? If you're born of the Spirit, you can move like the wind. You can be the fastest thing, you can move faster than lightning. I believe we can comprehend what our real reward is. To be able to move like that. Especially for the young people, because as you get older, the slower you get. The slower you get. You used to run 3.5 miles in like 18, 19 minutes. Or 5K. Now, I'm pushing like 30, 35, maybe 40. It's slower. Stuff just don't work like it used to. Lungs don't work like it used to. Knees don't work like it used to. But if you're born of the Spirit, they say you should move like the wind, like lightning. That's how you know you are born again. But guess what? This body can't do it. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Because to be born of the water, we know that's the word of God. That's what you use to circumcise your heart. That's how you grow spiritually. In the Spirit. You digest the Spirit. You use the Spirit to actually change you. Like the Spirit says, be ye angry and what? Don't sin. Nothing wrong with being mad, but that's kind of hard to do because once you get angry, sometimes all things just go out the window. But if you truly grow in the Spirit, you learn how to fight it better. It might get easier. It depends what it is. Because Satan will turn to heat. But you'll get stronger. That's growing in the Spirit. Forgiveness. That's it. Because this whole thing, everything we're doing is for that very reason, forgiveness. We keep all these feasts. Why? Because we were forgiven, right? Passover. Start off the year with what? Forgiveness. In the end of the month, they would tell me, what is that? Forgiveness. This whole thing is about forgiveness. So what do you think we should be at? Forgiveness. That's what it's about. That's how you
grow in the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit. So we want to be born again, we got to be born in that water. And that's that word will actually change the way we think, change the way we do things, at least it's supposed to. But what about that body though? 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 49. First Corinthians 15 and verse 49. When you get there, go ahead.
And as we have borne the image of the earth, we shall also bear the image of the heaven. Now this I say, brethren, that the flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither do corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all flee, but we shall all be changed in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. But the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
So it's going to be time we all going to be changed. Now, granted, this is talking about the first resurrection. And the first resurrection takes place at the beginning of the seventh day, when that last trumpet is blown. But at the eighth day, all flesh is going to be changed. Man will not have any flesh at all. On the eighth day, his son is circumcised completely. All the sons and daughters of Adam will be completely changed. At this time, we're reading about right here, that seventh trumpet, that's the first resurrection. That's what we're striving for. During that 1,000 years of peace, it'll be good to have both spirit and flesh together. But on the eighth day, no flesh. That's what he's teaching us during the circumcision. When a man is 8 days old, he loses flesh. When Adam is 8 days old, or from the 8,000 year of Adam, 8 days for God, man would not have any flesh. This is what God is teaching us. So in order for us to inherit the kingdom of God, what do we have to lose? Flesh. This terrestrial gonna pass to celestial. This earthly gonna pass to heavenly. And then we can inherit what the eighth day is all about. Go ahead.
For this corruption must put on incorruption. And this mortal should put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall put on incorruption, and this mortal shall put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the same that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
Can you imagine no one having to worry about dying anymore? Can you imagine being a being when time is insignificant? It don't matter. You got a bucket list? It can last for all eternity. I want to go to Pluto. Okay. Do whatever you want. There's no this thing before I get too old to do anything. There's no this thing I need to see the world before I turn a certain age. Time is irrelevant to a being that lives for all eternity. Infinity. That's what your clock will look like. An infinity symbol. Can you imagine that? That's in a whole new realm. Because once we live forever, this is a big question. What will be? Tradition teaches us we're going to just go be some angels. When you hear a bear wing, an angel got his wings, and my grandmother is an angel now in heaven. That's what we're taught. God has a much bigger plan than that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2. First Corinthians chapter 2, and let's start at verse 9. If we're going to have this incorruptible flesh, we're going to be immortal, we're going to have the celestial body, what are we going to be? And it's not an angel. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9, when you get there, go ahead.
But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear have heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him.
I remember the first time I heard this verse, I heard the man just use this verse, and he was talking about, God got things prepared for you. That house is around the corner. You know, like Oprah, you get a car, you get a car. That's what people kind of use this verse for. But that thing too small. God is bigger than that. God don't care about this stuff. I mean, man, he'll take care of you now in this world, but he's so much bigger than material things. We can't comprehend what God has in store for us. What did Jesus tell the disciples? He said, yes, I showed you greater things, but my Father, or my dad, he gonna show you some bigger things than anything I can show you. I don't think we understand what God has in store for us. I mean, it's something to get excited about. How are we going to find that out? I mean, how do we prove what God has in store for us? Verse 10.
But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God.
You know what his Spirit is? His Word. He said, I tell you in my Word. My Word reveals the deep things of God. And he's pretty point blank with it. It's not something like, no Bible codes, or, whoa, man, what God means. He's pretty point blank. But notice it says at the end of verse 9, the things which God has prepared for them that what? Love him, right? If you love God, what will you do? Once again, there go that sacrifice we were talking about. That sacrifice. Like the sacrifice for the house, the sacrifice to get the credit up, the sacrifice to save for a car, the sacrifice to have some money for retirement. What about the sacrifice for that ultimate retirement? Because God got something prepared for them that love him. You love me, you're going to keep my commandments. And if you keep my commandments, you forsake all, like Dad, he's going to show you some stuff. Because you can't comprehend the things that God prepared for you. And let's see one of the things that he has. Deep thing. 1 John chapter 3, and we'll start at verse 1. First John chapter 3 and verse 1. Brother Isaiah, you get that, go ahead.
Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore, the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not.
So what are we called? We are called the sons and daughters of what? It says that's the title we have. It said, what manner of the Father bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. And the world don't know us because the world don't know him. Verse 2.
Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doeth not yet appear what shall we be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.
So we are called the sons of God, right? But it does not appear what we shall be. Meaning we don't have that image. We're still bearing the image of the what? Earthly. We haven't borne the image of the heavenly yet. So even though we're called the sons of God, it does not yet appear what we shall be. But when he appears, we shall be like who? Him. What is he? God, right? So when he appears, we shall be like him. So we shall be what? God. Say it again. God is creating God. Jesus is the beginning of the creation of God. Why is he the beginning of the creation of God? Because if he didn't die and was resurrected, then we would not be created. None of us in here has reached our full potential. None of us. Because it's not time for us to reach our full potential yet. Because we still got to go through training. What is the training? Controlling this. That's what the training is. Sometimes we need to understand that this world is nothing but a big test. One big test. For what? to reach our full potential. Because if we can't control this, why would God give you the power of Almighty God? He already kicked out Satan. You think you really want a war with heaven? Satan was just an angel. You think you want to go up against a God? I just wouldn't give you the power. Which makes sense. So that's why it says we are called to serve God, but it does not yet appear what we shall be, because we got to get this together. We still got to go through training. We still got to be developed so we can handle it. And once he appear, we shall be like him. We shall see him as he is. And if we have this hope, what should we do? Verse 3.
And every man that hath this hope in him purified himself, even as he is pure.
If you hope to be God, then you will work for it. That's your hope. Just like we hope to get paid every week or every 2 weeks. So we go to work. Because if we didn't have that hope, would we go to work? Nope. But if you have that hope, that you're going to reach your ultimate destination, that you're going to reach your full potential, then you'll purify yourself. Let's go to Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8 also let us know that we are saved by hope. But that's not what I want to read today. Romans chapter 8 and verse 18. When you get there, go ahead.
Well, I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed.
Basically saying, the stuff you're going through in this life that you think is so bad can't compare to what the reward is. Cannot compare. And we think the stuff we go through is just so horrible. And it's funny. Once you get out that situation, another situation comes, and you're like, oh, this is so horrible again. Then another situation comes, oh, it's just so horrible again. But whatever we go through in this life is not as tough or can be compared to what God is going to give us. We just got to overcome. Because God will not put us in a situation we cannot overcome. God already knows you can overcome. That's why He put you there. You know what the problem is? Sometimes we don't know we can overcome. Look at what He did to Job. He put Job in that situation because He knew Job was going to overcome it. He knew it. So any situation God put you in, He knows you can overcome it. Because He wouldn't put you in it if you couldn't overcome it. That's what an awesome God we have. We just got to have the faith. We just got to have the patience. We just have to endure. God already knows we can. So He says, for I reckon that the suffering at the present time are not worth to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Verse 19.
For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God.
All right, so you know what manifestation means? To manifest, to bring forth. The creature waiteth. You know what a creature is? Humans, us. We wait for the manifestation of the sons of God. We wait for God to truly manifest us. And it's going to be revealed at a certain time. And it all will be revealed on that 8th day. Verse 20.
For the creature was made subject to vanity and not willing by the reason of him who have subject to the same in hope. But because of the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our bodies.
And that's what we're waiting for. We can redeem our bodies. But notice what He said in verse 23. He said, not only they, but we ourselves would have the what? First fruits of the Spirit, isn't it? That's the spiritual growth we need. The first fruits of the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit, which is what? Love, patience, long-suffering, meekness, humility. That's what we need. And Paul is saying, if we have those things, then this body will be redeemed and the children of God will be manifested. But until then, we're going to be on this race together. It's a painful race. It will be a struggle. Guaranteed. Any servant of God is going to be a struggle. And we should know that through history. You guys know any servants of God who didn't struggle? Is there any example that a servant of God lived perfectly their entire lives? Not one. Not one. Even Jesus died. But we all do it together. That's why testimonies is so important. Testimonies give you strength. When you hear a brother or sister overcome something, it's like, man, they overcome it, I can overcome it too. Or sometimes somebody say they overcame something, they just had that little bit of inspiration that you needed to just support you. It's like, I can run with this now. Because we do it together. Together. That's one thing Paul emphasized on this. Together with the fruits of the Spirit, this body will be redeemed. All right, let's go to Psalms chapter 82, and we'll let God tell us that we're going to be God. We got to read everything because the deepness things of God are searched out in the Spirit. Psalms 82 and verse 6. You get there? Go ahead.
I have said, ye are gods. All of you are children of the Most High.
Then look what John said. John said, even though you are called the sons of God, but it does not yet appear what you shall be. So when he shall appear, you should be like him. Psalm 82 said, ye are what? Everybody say, I am a God. I am a God. Know your potential. It may not appear what you shall be. If you keep fighting, you will reach your full potential. Because he said, it is written that ye are gods. That's what God said. And go ahead and finish that, bro.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
And we are all children of the Most High. That's why he said you can't comprehend what God has in store for us. The Father will teach us greater things. We shall do greater things. We don't have to think small. It's nice to have rewards in this lifetime, but it's a much, much greater reward coming. Now let Jesus say it. St. John chapter 10 and verse 33. When you get there, go ahead.
The Jews answered him and said, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, because that thou, being a man, makest thyself God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods?
That's a good one. He said, you try to talk about blasphemy, but it said in your law, I said ye are gods. And we just read that in the law, right? In the Old Testament, the book of Psalms. Go ahead.
If he called them God, under whom the word of God came, and the scripture cannot be broken, say ye of him, whom the Father hath sanctified, and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I said, I am the Son of God.
Now, can the scripture be broken? No. Can God's word return to him void? Nope. So if he said we are gods, what are we? Gods. That's when we will reach our full potential. So when we lose flesh on that 8th day, we will become gods. And always an if. Down that straight and narrow. Do the work. Do the things you're supposed to do. That's what you're fighting for. Now, let's see where we're going to be staying at. Let's go to St. John chapter 14. St. John chapter 14, we'll start at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead. We're going to start and wrap this up.
Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you.
All right. So it said, in my Father's house, how many mansions are there? I can use some of that real estate. And especially when I heard the material they're using. They're not using, ceramic tile or quartz or granite. They're big time. He used all type of diamonds I can't even pronounce. Carbuncle, I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty good. All types of stuff. Streaks of gold, glass, all types of beautiful stuff that the kingdom is talking about. Got those 12 gates too, don't it? That's where you want to reside, isn't it? That's where you want to get to. That's the end plan. That's the end game. As we reign with God, he's talking about these beautiful mansions that he has set up for us. We got to believe in him and believe in the Son, and we can make it into those places. Once we're born again, circumcised of the heart, he outlined everything we need to do. And all this is set up when? On the 8th day. Verse 3.
And if I go prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Exactly. Jesus is going to dwell in the middle of Jerusalem, and we're going to dwell with him. Let's go to St. John chapter 5, verse 28. This is the things that we need to really ask ourselves. This line right here is just chapter 1. What's your chapter 2 going to be like? That's what you need to ask yourself. St. John chapter 5 and verse 28. When you get there, go ahead.
Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation.
So the books are being written. They're going to be open. What's your chapter 2 going to look like? What year are you going to reside in that body that lives forever? Because everybody lives forever. But where are you going to live? Some of those mansions? Or are you in the house by the lake? Or in the lake, should I say? Right. That's the beachfront property you don't want. But all that depends on what you do in this life. How you carry yourself. Do you really change up here? Wisdom is always a principal thing. Knowledge is good, but wisdom is what we need to get. Wisdom teaches you how to be better. Wisdom teaches you how to tweak this personality to be humble, meeker, get rid of arrogance, get rid of pride. To really change, to be a new person. Because it's all in our hands. God don't make you do anything. Satan don't make you do anything. It's always a choice. But one thing about God, he laid it all out there. Either you're going to be in the kingdom with me, or you'll be eternal damnation. The choice is yours. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20. We're going to start to read a little about getting into the 8th day. This is when the 8th day starts, actually. Leviticus chapter 20, and we start at verse 11. If you read earlier in Revelation chapter 20, talking about the first resurrection. Then after that, he says, Satan shall be bound in prison for how long? 1,000 years, right? So that's the whole 7th day. Now remember, he said, at the end of the 1,000 years, Satan is loose. So when is Satan loose? In the 8th day, isn't it? And after he loose without no season, he shall go to deceive the earth. He's going to go deceive God and make God. You can read Ezekiel 39. We'll break all that out. And God will send fire down from heaven, burn up God and make God, and that's the last and final battle. Then we're going to go into white throne judgment. So once Satan is loose after the prison for 1,000 years, the Sabbath, the rest is over. That's into the 8th day. So that last battle of God to make God, when they come up to the city without walls, to those who were at peace, because after 1,000 years pass, man loses amnesia. They forget that God parted the sky 1,000 years prior. They forget that Jesus landed on Mount Olive and it split like a great earthquake. They forget that it was so much blood that it was in a horse's bridle because that was 1,000 years ago. That was just a myth. It might happen, it might not. Dinosaurs are real, who knows? You know how we are now. Did the flood really happen? I don't think so. Did Jesus really exist? That was 1,000 years ago. Who knows? You know how man is. We get amnesia. We forget. We can have all the documentation in the world. It don't matter. We're too proud and arrogant and can prove anything. So 1,000 years later, they're going to fight God again. God will burn them up. Then he'll take Satan and put him in the lake of fire. Then what's going to happen to us? Once again, this is in the 8th day. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 11. Go ahead.
And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face of the earth and the heaven fled away.
Mm-hmm.
There was found no place for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened up, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works.
So once again, once you die, it's like Isaiah was saying in the past lesson, you can't take money with you when you die, can you? You never see no Brinks truck drive to the funeral. Only thing you can take with you is what? Your works. That's the only thing you can take with you to the grave. God gonna have all those things written down and be opened up. That's why it's good to evaluate yourselves while you have life. That's why it's good to make sure you're changing, literally changing. I mean, this ain't like no New Year's resolution, no new diet where you're good for a week and you go back to your old ways. This requires change. Because if you go to like a fire, first thing you were thinking, man, I should have called off work on a Sabbath day. I should have quit that job while you burn it for all eternity. I should have not committed adultery. I should have done this. Because you're burning like a fire, all that stuff that seems so important right now that you can't live without, at that time you were like, what was I thinking? That's why the time now is to change. Why you have breath, why you can't. We serve a long suffering God to give us that opportunity. Because you don't want to stand on this day and you try to freak out because you don't know you're on his left side or on his right. Paul knew. Paul understood. Paul was on his deathbed. Paul said, I have fought the good fight. I have now a crown laid up for me. That's the confidence I would like to have. Only way I have that confidence is to be better from now on. So it said the sea gave dead that was in them. And what else? Verse 13.
And the death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their work.
Verse 14.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life and was cast into the lake of fire.
All right, let's see what this lake of fire is like. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14. Because unfortunately, some of my brothers and sisters who haven't alert yet or learned, maybe some have, maybe some haven't, but a lot of people believe that you just going to burn up and that's it. That the lake of fire is not eternal. Revelation chapter 14 and verse 10. Once again, this is the 8th day. This is what's going on in the 8th day. Go ahead.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into a cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
And how long shall that last? Verse 11.
And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they shall have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So,
if you're in a lake of fire, are you going to get a break? Nope. The reason why God is just with this, the reward is very unimaginable. The punishment is very unimaginable. When God said in Ezekiel chapter 18, are not my ways equal? Are not your ways unequal? If God has an awesome reward, he has an awesome punishment. He's the same on both sides. So if he don't give you the power of Almighty God reward, he has to have a punishment. It's equally great. And the thing about it, he let you know that. So it's not like I had somebody knock on my door and was asking me questions. I tried to give them a pamphlet. They wouldn't take mine, but they wanted me to take theirs. They asked me a question. You think God would do that to you? And I was like, yeah. You think that's fair? I said, yeah, that's fair. They said, why? Because he told me. That means I chose the reward of punishment. He's perfectly fair. If I chose to do this, after he told me this would happen, that's all on me. So he's totally fair. He didn't do anything. I chose a path, I walked down it, and that's where I ended up. And if people don't understand lake of fire, because you have people who boldly say, well, man, that's forbidden. I'll just have to go lake of fire again. They don't understand what it really is. They don't either believe it, they can't comprehend it. I remember ironing my clothes and get burnt on my arm and pull back and it sting for like 8 days. And that's just right here. Let alone all over this. Right. Can you imagine? Everybody had them little burns and stuff like that. But once again, this is on the 8th day. Let's see the flip side. Revelation chapter 21. Let's see it. Revelation 21 and start at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea.
Mm-hmm.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Uh-huh.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God.
Notice it said the tabernacle of God is with who? Men, right? Not the other way around. We don't go up to heaven. The kingdom comes down to us. This is why we celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. This is why it's called the Feast of Ingathering. This is the ultimate holy convocation that we're reminded every time we come together in God's name. This is the holy convocation we all try to be a part of. That great holy gathering. Verse 4.
And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away.
Why make up something else? Why can't this be good enough? Go to a place where there's no crying, no pain, just joy forever. Once again, can't imagine that. Can you imagine that? Waking up in the middle of the night, trying to go to the bathroom, bumping your toe? That's like the worst pain in the world. That pain makes you speak French. You don't have to worry about that no more. No more sorrow. Verse 5.
And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful.
His word cannot come back unto him void. It's going to happen. Verse 6.
And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely.
Mm-hmm.
He that overcometh shall inherit all things. I will be his God. He shall be my son.
So if you overcome, you're going to inherit what? All things. That's why sacrifices are necessary. The fighting is necessary. Not giving into the flesh is necessary. You have to overcome. It's something for us to do. Verse 8.
But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, idolaters, all liars, shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Once again, we are reading the 8th day. Everything, there's no flesh at this point. All spiritual beings, whether you're in the lake of fire, whether you're in the kingdom. So in the beginning, when God said circumcise the sons on the 8th day, he's showing us on the 8th day, he's going to circumcise his sons. We're all going to lose flesh. And that's the 8th day. I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name.